Correct, because the same for
As
me, it's quite easy to understand the gender diversity aspect, right? Because
Mhm.
I'm a woman, and part of although we are 50% of the population, we are in minority in certain enterprises.
Yeah,
But I have also the same challenges with other aspects of the diversity where I'm not the minority, and then if people don't make you aware of what you may do to those, then sometimes it's difficult to acknowledge that. And that's the reason for
yeah.
me it's important to bring visibility to those aspects.
Welkom bij Women Disrupting Tech. Mijn naam is Dirk-Jan Hupkes en in deze podcast ga ik op ontdekkingsreis in de wereld van vrouwen in de technologiesector. Ik ga in gesprek met vrouwen die in tech werken of oprichter zijn van een tech-startup. Ik ga op zoek naar het antwoord op de vraag hoe zij er wel in geslaagd zijn om succes te hebben. Met andere woorden, hoe zij de technologiesector disrupten. Luister je mee?
Hey, welcome back to Women Disrupting Tech. Thank you for listening. If you are a regular listener, you know that you can't underestimate the power of role models when it comes to women in tech. Back in episode 23, Dielke van Buren said, "You can't be what you can't see," and this statement has stuck with me ever since. Later last year, I learned about Roll It Out, and that's a female role model agency for women in tech. Like many startups, their story started at a hackathon where they were challenged to come with a solution to bring more young women to the health tech and tech workforce. In today's episode of Women Disrupting Tech, I speak with Núria Barceló I Peiró, and she's the general manager of Roll It Out. We discuss how you can become a role model, what Roll It Out does to promote women in tech, and especially why young women should become the next female tech role model. So please welcome to Women Disrupting Tech, Núria Barceló I Peiró. Hey, welcome Núria. Thank you for being my guest today. Question I always ask at the beginning is how you got into your current job or into your current position.
Well, I'm working already, I would say, 9 years at NXP. And the current positions, I moved in just last year, a little bit in October last year. And I got this position because I was looking to do something new. And I came to across that there was something in the area of subsidy programs, working a lot with innovation, and this is something
Mhm.
that I like a lot. So that's why I decided to jump into this position of the NXP.
Okay. So just for context, most listeners will know ASML. They make
Hmm.
the machines that are used to create chips. But what is NXP?
Yeah, NXP is also a spin-off of Philips because I
Mm-hmm.
think many people will recognize Philips because of their end user consumer products.
Mm-hmm.
NXP, what we do is we design and produce electronic chips that are, for most of the people should know, it goes inside, for example, the mobiles, your passport, or when we
Mm-hmm.
pay with credit cards and so on.
Okay. So, and your job at the moment is, I think, security architect or solutions architect.
No, not anymore. That was my
Okay.
previous position. Today, I'm a program manager in the subsidy team,
Uh-huh.
and we take care of aligning with our business lines technical experts
Mm-hmm.
to try to find out projects that will collaborate with other companies in universities, research institutes,
Mm-hmm.
in order to work on innovation products.
Okay. So basically, and then the subsidy part is also, I guess, making sure that it can be financed through some sort of subsidy.
Exactly, either a European level or a national level. And those subsidies are really needed
Mm-hmm.
because it forces companies, large companies like NXP, to do collaboration with universities and research institutes, and also small, medium enterprises that otherwise will be very, very difficult.
Okay. Can you name a couple of examples from past innovations that have come from such programs?
Yes, for example, we did some in the area of radars that are
Hmm.
now incorporated to cars in order to help the security and safety of the drivers.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
So and those then come from start with a subsidy round and a subsidized project. Okay,
yeah.
cool. So I had a look at your LinkedIn and your let's say you do have a lot of background in tech
Hmm.
because I saw yeah I mentioned security architect, solutions architect, and you were also a software consultant, I think. Uh, so, as a woman in tech, what has been your experience in terms of yeah dealing with the men, with the men's world?
Yeah, that's from the beginning. Also, because I studied computer engineer, and when
Mm-hmm.
I studied in the university, we were also a minority there. So, and I have to say that I have three brothers, non sisters. So
Yeah.
for me, being in a men's world is quite common. And then I would say that it has been in some areas a little bit challenging. The fact that uh, sometimes we are a little bit invisible, and then also either you adapt to their world, or sometimes it's very hard to feel that you belong to that world.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, most of the times, yeah, you I do my work and then I forget about it. But yeah, there are some occasions where you are confronted and you feel that you are not the same than the other
Yeah.
part. Eh?
And how do you deal with that? If you feel like that?
Sometimes, in most of the cases, I'm quite a spoken person,
Uh-huh.
so I will put it on the table and tell them, hey, please consider that not everybody is thinking like you.
Mm-hmm.
Not also because I would like to mention here that not all the men are the same. Eh? Also, I don't
Yeah.
want to generalize that all the men are having the same characteristics, but yeah, there is a predominancy, the same that there is a predominancy with the woman characteristics, right?
Yeah.
So I try to let them know how I feel or how their actions or what they say, it may be excluding me from being part of the
Mm-hmm.
table.
Yeah.
And then, of course, sometimes it's easier than others, and sometimes it brings frustrations, but sometimes it brings also nice reactions if people say, "Hey, we were not aware. Thank you for letting us
Uh-huh.
know." Eh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's and I guess that last bit is the response you're looking for, that people acknowledge. Oh, sorry,
yeah,
we weren't aware.
correct. Because the same for
Has
me, it's quite easy to understand the gender diversity aspect, right? Because
mhm.
I'm a woman, and part of although we are 50% of the population, we are in minority in certain enterprises.
Yeah.
But I have also the same challenges with other aspects of the diversity where I'm not the minority. And then if people don't make you aware of what you may do to those, then sometimes it's difficult to acknowledge that. And that's the reason for
Yeah.
me it's important to bring visibility to those aspects.
Yeah. Has that changed, by the way, over the past years? Have you seen like positive change in terms of people more saying like, oh yeah, sorry, we didn't know, but we didn't want to.
I would say yes. It's not going to the speed I wished,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's of course it's more on a topic conversation nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And also, for example, at NXP, they are putting now more attention to make sure that there is more diversity, as in particular in gender, but not
Mm-hmm.
only the diversity aspect, but the inclusiveness, and that's also crucial. You know,
Yeah.
I would say that among my colleagues, I still need to bring things onto the table,
Mm-hmm.
but they are surprising me more and more aspects that they will bring it onto the table themselves. You know, so that's not changing for everybody, but yeah, it's slowly changing, and
Okay.
that's positive. Yeah.
Yeah. A question I also had was, do you have had did you have any role models Like you talked about having three brothers.
Hmm.
Probably those were role models in some sort. But did you have any particular role models who inspired you career-wise?
Yeah, I've been asked this many times, and then I have to think every time what was it that triggered me to do certain things or to behave certain things. I think the first role model that I had, if I consider female role models, is
Hmm.
my mother, because although she was taking care of the family, so her job was to really coordinate all the family duties. That with four kids, as you can imagine, it was not easy.
Hmm.
But she has been always very independent and very much deciding what she wanted without having to ask for permission for her husband. So for
Hmm.
me, that was unconsciously something that I learned to be always defending what I want, and
Uh-huh.
being independent. And then later on, yes, I had some good teachers in the secondary school or in the university where I saw a very strong woman. And a strong woman, I mean, not in the sense that sometimes we think about a strong woman more like I would say something like Margaret Thatcher, right? Very
Hmm.
very aggressive. No, it's not necessarily that. It's a woman that for me, yeah, they push, they believe in something and they go for it,
Hmm.
and without always having to be the taking the characteristic of a man being aggressive or being
Hmm.
very dominant. So I think yeah, there are some that unconsciously they shape who I am today.
Okay. Um, we talked about role models a bit.
Yeah.
I want to shift to Roll It Out because
Hmm.
you're the general manager of Roll It Out. As I understand it, it started at a hackathon. Um, can you what was the reason you decided to participate in this hackathon?
Yeah, we were approached because, of course, NXP has a lot of presence in Nijmegen. This
Hmm.
hackathon happened it was organized by the Nijmegen Council.
Hmm.
And then they asked us that they were looking for teams in order to come with ideas and that will help young, but especially women, to work for tech and health tech companies. And of
Hmm.
course, NXP being a tech company, we said, okay, why not? And then we formed a team of 6 IT women in NXP,
Hmm.
and we say, let's go for it and let's participate. It happened in December 2020, if I'm not mistaken, or 21. I don't remember. With COVID, everything. It was the last year
Yeah.
of COVID,
Uh-huh.
and then yeah, we participated, and I don't know how we came with a good idea that is to have an agency for female role models,
Uh-huh.
and we won, and that's how it started, and then slowly after that, in January, we constitute the foundation, and then we started to look for companies that will, yeah, put female role models of the companies
Hmm.
in order to start promoting and representing those companies. To to
Okay.
to the idea behind is to motivate young women to join technical companies.
Uh-huh. Yeah, which is also one of the reasons I have this podcast. So
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, Out of curiosity, how did you decide to set up a female role model agency? Because that's sort of.
Yeah, part of the hackathon is first of all you come with the ideas, and
Hmm.
then the first thing you need to take is okay, what are they are asking you, and we were sitting there and say, but why is the reason that, for example, in particular in the Netherlands, we have so few women
Hmm.
going for technical careers and
Hmm.
or at, working for technical companies, because in a technical company, of course, you may be working there without a technical study, and in fact
Hmm.
from the 6 that we participate in the hackathon, only 2 were engineers, so another
Uh-huh.
colleague and me, and the other were I think we have a philosophy, communications student, economist. So there are different profiles that you may have,
Uh-huh.
and then we came to the conclusion that what happens is that it's quite difficult to go for a technical study or for a profession if you don't see people of your own gender, if you don't see
Mm-hmm.
people that more or less you
Look
feel
like you.
represented,
Yeah.
right? So that was one, and then the second aspect we thought was, in particular in our company, is that sometimes now that we want to have more woman representation and we want to inspire women to join NXP,
Mm-hmm.
many times they come to us as a woman and they tell us, "Hey, go here or go there, go," you know. And
Mm-hmm.
many women, they don't feel comfortable with that because they don't think they may have the skills to do a good presentation, so they may not
Mm-hmm.
have the skills to post something nice in LinkedIn. So with those two, then we decided, okay, maybe it will be nice if we put an agency
Mm-hmm.
where the companies pay for these female role models,
Mm-hmm.
and then what we provide is a set of training
Mm-hmm.
that gives them certain skill sets to be able to represent the company much better. And at the same time, also all these female role models start to build a community
Mm-hmm.
where they can support each other. They can share also what their experience are and enrich each other. And that's how we came up why female role models agency was needed.
Yeah. So do I understand correctly that it's then also let's say a bit of a recruitment tool, or for the companies who sponsor you, that it can actually also be a recruitment tool,
No,
or maybe also a career management tool?
No, that's not really, because for that there are other organizations in the Netherlands already taking care of us. For us, it's more really it has to be a win-win. So a win for the companies where these role models will be the face of the company, and
Yeah.
hopefully by that they will inspire new women
Mm-hmm.
to join the company. So in this sense, yeah, you could think about that it will support the recruitment, but
Uh-huh.
it's not that the companies should use the role models to recruit in the role
No,
models.
no, no, no.
Oh,
Sorry, sorry. It was exactly the first point. Like,
okay.
if you have people working, like women working for you, it tends to be easier to attract other women to join your company because they simply can see themselves working there.
Yeah,
So
and that's
in that.
yeah, in that sense is correct. That's one of the key why we are doing this, and that's
Hmm.
why also the companies are participating into the program. But also at the same time, for the companies, what we tell them is just all these female role models that
Hmm.
join the community, right,
Hmm.
and they join the training program. It's also for them to recognize that they are a very good employee,
Hmm.
right? And many of the women that join, they feel recognized by that, and then they feel more loyal to the company. So that's the reason we say it's a win-win. It also has to be something that for the woman that is going to be the future female role model of the company, it has
Yeah.
to be something worth it also for them.
Oh, definitely. Because otherwise, yeah, there's no point in being a role model
Exactly.
if there's not a win for you. Um, how can you become a role model? By the way. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean apply to roll it out, of course. But what does it take for a woman to be a role model?
Yeah, usually are either sometimes the company tell us, "Hey, this woman, I think it will be a good candidate for role model. Can you talk to them?" And then either we talk from the board members or we send one of the existing role models to explain a little bit what is this,
Hmm.
what their experience.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they are a woman that they see us either in LinkedIn or in events, and they say, "Hey,
Hmm.
this is interesting for me. I really would like to." And then in that case, we encourage them. We explain them again a little bit more what this is about, and
Hmm.
then we tell them, go to your company, ask, talk to your manager, or talk to your HR, or talk to your DNI person, and
Hmm.
and and let's discuss it. Basically, what we say is right now the profiles that we are looking are women that are working in technical or health tech companies,
Hmm.
and they are having a technical position. It doesn't mean that they have to have per se a technical study, but right now we are focused more in the technical positions because there is where we see less women. Usually in these companies, for example, if you go to the HR department,
Hmm.
it's much easier to see women, and there
Hmm.
is for us it's not so interesting. then they have to have it in terms of age. It doesn't matter because we have right now female role models that are under 35 and also female role models that are 50, 55, so that doesn't matter. The spirit is very important. They have to believe that DNI culture of the company is important. So they need to do that. And then also, of course, the spirit of attending and doing things for the company, attending certain events. It's not mandatory to go to all the events, but they need for sure to participate during the year in certain cases.
So they also need to let's say invest a bit of their own time to quote unquote promote themselves, but
Yeah.
also the agency.
Yeah, and here is a very important aspect that we talk to the companies, because many times what it happens is when, for example, in my case, I'm a woman in NXP lead in Europe, and all I do in that case is my free time. Okay, so NXP does not allocate time for that.
No.
They appreciate it and recognize it a lot, and they give him flexibility to do certain things, but they don't allocate that. But when we ask the companies that the female role models go to the training program or they do things in order to promote the companies, then we tell them, please make sure that the time they allocate for that is part of the normal work. That's very important. So we don't want them to do things on top of, because it's not going to work.
No, because then it's taking time out of their private lives, which is
Yeah.
exactly where you don't want to take it out. So,
No.
if let's just take an example. My girlfriend works for ING in Amsterdam, and she has like I think 10% of her time she can allocate to mastery, which is about her own education, development, etc. Would that be a good construction where you can actually allocate the time to do the work for roll it out?
It could be, but we are not putting any rule on with the companies.
No. But it's more like as an
Yeah,
example.
I think what they need to realize is the fact that they are being ambassadors for the company. So then that's the reason we say, okay, you have to
Yeah.
allocate. And then, of course, it depends a lot on the company because we have small and large companies that they may have, if you have only one female role model of the company, right? Then you may have to allocate more time for that person. If you have
Yeah.
several ones, then it's easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, and it's something that we have discussed a lot in the board members of Roll It Out, is to make it very clear that this is a win for the company, right? Then, and they are going to be working for the company, right? So
Yeah.
then it's very important that, you don't need to follow a log. I'm working 3 hours for in
Yeah.
female role model activities, but it's very important that they take it seriously, and therefore they need to allocate time for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this role model program of Roll It Out, what is it about? What kind of elements should I think about? You discussed or you highlighted, okay, maybe women are not really, don't have the self-confidence to do a lot of LinkedIn posts. What kind of trainings and programs do you offer?
Yes, right now our training program is about 3 trainings where we are using professional trainers. And then these 3 trainings have a preparation that we send, the trainer send in advance. And then there is every training has a 4-hour workshop, and then a post training how do you say, follow-up activities. The
Okay.
trainings are 3. The first one is about how to better present. And then in that sense, they teach to do, for example, a PowerPoint presentation, but also to present without slides. Okay, how the body language, how to, also the pace of the speech and different tricks and tips that help them to have a better presentation, and therefore hoping that the audience will get their message in a much easier way.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's one. Then the second one, it's about social media, we call it, and that one predominantly because, of course, we are talking about working space. Then we teach them about posting messages, how to have presence in LinkedIn. Also in Instagram, but we have seen that in Instagram it's a little bit less working right now still. So, but to have, for example, that they have a good profile in LinkedIn, that they post things not only about the company, but also about themselves. Because one of the key messages, if we want to inspire other women, is that we need to visualize the work that they are doing in the company.
Yeah.
So the more it's not only about saying, okay, company X, we are doing that or not. It's in company X, I am doing this or this. Look what I did that way. So that goes. And the third training is more about generation. And again, here it's with the goal of addressing to the right public, right? Because we see, depending on the age that you have, you may reach out to the same people of your age, but it may be difficult to reach out to younger people or to older people because they are not in your. So that is where we also tell them a little bit, explain that there are differences, of course, and what they need to pay attention. And with this 3 package, by the end, usually it takes 1 quarter because we usually do 1 training per month so that they have also capacity to absorb what we teach. Then they are better equipped. And we have seen already with the first role models that even the managers are starting to recognize that they are having more confidence to do presentations. They also feel the community, so they are teasing each other a little bit sometimes to say, hey, why we don't do this or when we do that. So it's nice also already to see the impact.
There's real impact. Oh, that's good. And these trainings, by the way, are in person, right?
Yes, we have
At
them
least
face to face, and then that's the reason we also we don't want in the trainings to have many female role models at the same times, so that they also build a good relationship between them, and they are able to do the exercises in a much more deeper way.
Yeah, and it also it gives a bit of focus, a bit of also exclusivity, let's say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was about Roll It Out so far. What are your future plans with Roll It Out? Because you've been building it since 2021 or 2020. What does the future look like?
Yeah, right now what we are trying to focus is to make sure that the companies see value in it, because of course the first time that we went to the companies we didn't have any history, and then it was sometimes very hard for the companies to jump in. Now we started to have the female role models, and they are now talking also to the new companies, and then it's becoming easier. It will be nice to grow up and have, because if we really want to have impact, to really have inspire, we need to have, let's say in the next 3 years or something like this, we should have reached out to at least 100 in the Netherlands. Right now our focus was mainly in the region of Nijmegen. Now we have moving also a little bit outside, so Eindhoven, because of course we have also here in Eindhoven a lot of technical companies. So that's a little bit the future, is to really grow up in terms of having more role models.
Yeah, and more countrywide then also.
Yes, exactly.
So really, okay. How would you consider that to be in like 10 years?
The 10 years, I don't know. I
It's
think
always a stretch to imagine. I understand.
I know, and it's sometimes it's difficult because we are going step by step. We are a foundation, so we are not a profit company. So that's the reason sometimes we don't have the need to go so far. But yeah, for us, or at least in this particular case, for me, what I really would like is to have a kind of a female role model agency all over to the Netherlands, so that we could have, I don't know, by province or something like this, or very
Mm,
very so to have maybe one in Twente, another one more into the Delft area. That there are also
mhm.
the technical universities. Maybe why not in Amsterdam? So that will be nice to have a replication. And then if you ask me in the future, then I really wish it was not needed. You know,
Oh.
that's my ultimate goal. The
Mhm.
moment that we are obsolete because the technical companies reach out to have, let's say, it's between 40 and 50% of women in their companies.
Yeah. Yeah, usually now I ask something about an arrangement I have with Jacqueline van den Ende
Hmm.
about making my podcast obsolete in 10 years from now.
Ah,
But I can now turn it to roll it out as well. What would we need it uh, to make roll it out and also this podcast, I guess, obsolete in 10 years?
honestly, I'm not very optimistic. I don't think we can do that in 10 years. I don't
Hmm.
believe it. Especially because I told you before, I see change, but it's not going fast. And
No.
also, um, I think one of the challenges that we are going to have is because the human being is they put attention and suddenly
Hmm.
it comes something more urgent and they move the attention to the other
Yeah.
point. Okay.
Yeah.
And there is the risk that once we reach out to a certain percentage, let's say 30%, what is
Hmm.
quite already optimistic in 10 years, there could be that then in a certain point of time, then they say, okay, we are going in the right direction. We can relax a little bit
Yeah.
the effort. And that's the
Hmm.
reason then it will be also even more difficult to reach out to 40 or even 50%. Um, but if we are able to reach out to 30%, I would
Hmm.
say, then it will be more visible. And then it will be easier that women start to, especially the girls, right? The
Hmm.
girls start to see that having a technical career profession is also cool and is also for them. So, although in our case we have been focusing a lot on the women that are young women, but already either starting their career or in the last years of the university of college degrees, right?
Hmm.
I think if we really want to have this in 10 years, we are too late because this means that the girls that are now in primary school should get a lot of attention, and I don't think
Hmm.
it's the case. So let's put 20 years. Let's
Yeah.
maybe 20 years we still could do it, but if we want to have it in 20 years, a lot of that attention has to go to the schools. And also to the parents and to the families and all this part of the society because you could see now that we have been in Christmas, right?
Hmm.
Or a Sinterklaas or whatever you want to do, still how many boys got a puppet to play
Yeah.
and how many girls got a car or Lego, a
Yeah.
normal Lego to play,
Uh,
right?
yeah.
That's not changing as the speed that we want. So
No.
then that there is where we really need to change a lot of things to really make it gender neutral, where the kids are playing, where the kids are getting, and that takes a lot of effort. And I'm not sure we are ready for that yet.
Okay. But does that also I understand the presence part, of
Hmm.
course, but does it also require changes in the education system?
I think so. I think so. I went to before Christmas. I went to a middle school, so to high
Yeah.
school, and they had there were boys and there were girls. So I asked particularly to the girls what they thought about technical,
Hmm.
what was technique, if they like it,
Hmm.
and all of the girls told me we don't like technical. You know,
Oh.
all. And then I asked them, but why? And then they told me, I don't know, I don't like it, and so on. And for me, it was. And then I asked the boys because, of course,
Hmm.
maybe it's at the school. I asked the
Hmm.
boys, and the boys, 80% of the boys told me, yes, we like technical.
Yeah.
So that's the reason in the schools something is going wrong. Why the girls are not feeling that. Of course, not everybody has to like technical,
No.
But to have all the girls saying no, for me, it was a waking up call. It was like say,
Yeah.
okay, we are doing something wrong here because maybe we are not teaching the technique as it should be. Maybe
Uh-huh.
we are not inspiring those girls to choose for that.
No, for sure not, because
So that has
otherwise
to
at least
change.
a couple would have said
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the thing is, it's one of my own um, thesis. Let's say that part of the thesis is that we need to change a lot in the education system, starting even in primary school,
Mm.
so in basisschool in Dutch, because there's a lot of women teaching there, and they don't teach tech. Period. So then it depends on what the girls get at home. And if that's a lot of tech because the mom is doing coding,
Mm.
that's fine. Or if like my niece, the dad is teaching her how he sells planes,
Hmm.
literally literally sells airplanes, yeah, then she gets into contact with tech, so then it's not a problem. But if the parents and especially the mothers are not technical, it's just not happening.
No, and sometimes at least for example in NXP we are doing the Girls' Day every year,
Uh-huh.
and what we have seen, and the more I talk to girls, I think one of the differences in general, and again, I don't want to stereotype,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe for girls, what is important is more what do you do with the technique, not so
Yeah.
much about technique per se. It has to
Mm-hmm.
have a purpose.
Yeah.
And then if we are able to tell them that technique is just a middle,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe it will be easier. Because, for example, one of the girls, she told me from that school, she told me that she wanted to do arts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't have time. But then I thought, yeah, but if you take the case of Eindhoven, we have in October, November, I think in November, the glow with
Mm-hmm.
these
Yeah.
lights and so on. I thought I
Yeah.
should have tell her that, yeah, you can do art also with technique,
Yeah.
nowadays. Many things, and I told them, look, without there are very few things nowadays that you can do without a computer or without something
Yeah.
technical. eh?
Yeah.
So maybe it's something that the schools should go, and the same way that you used to have books as a middle to learn,
Yeah.
we should do the same thing with technical, and then
Yeah.
maybe that could change the ratio. I don't know. I
Okay.
don't have I don't have the answer. If I had the answer, probably I will be very
Yeah.
rich now.
Yeah. Then everything would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
So thanks, Nuria, for the wonderful conversation. Really appreciate it. Good to have you as a guest. And I was wondering, where can listeners learn more about Roll It Out, and where can they connect with you?
Yes, we have a website, Roll It Out, and then we are also have presence in LinkedIn. So
Mm-hmm.
where we post quite a lot there what we are doing or things
Mm-hmm.
that are maybe interesting for our followers.
Yeah.
So that's something that people can reach us about those two places.
Okay. And if they want to reach out with you, also go to
They can
LinkedIn.
contact me. Yeah, the best way is to contact me via LinkedIn. My
Okay.
profile is open to everybody.
Good. Then we'll include those links in the show notes. Nuria, thank you very much for all your wisdom today. Thank you for being my guest. And listeners, thank you for listening. And I hope to see you in the next episode. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. Nuria and I hope that you've enjoyed our conversation as much as we did. You can learn more about Roll It Out, the work they do, and connect with Nuria via the links in the show notes. And as usual, you can find the show notes at womendisruptingtech.blog. There, you can also become a member of the Women Disrupting Tech community. Members get exclusive access to Women Disrupting Tech events and are the first to learn when new episodes or blogs come online. For a weekly dose of Women Disrupting Tech inspiration, you can also follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Good Pods. And if you do, please don't forget to give the show a rating or a review, because that way you help other people discover the podcast. Now, if you want to help me and my guests to make this podcast obsolete in 9 years, there's a simple thing you can do. Please share the podcast with friends, family, and coworkers, because this way you give my guests and myself, of course, the platform we need to make it happen. Finally, if you want to connect with me, you can reach me via dirkjan@womendisruptingtech.blog, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just look up my name, Dirk-Jan Hupkes, and you'll find me. With that, I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next episode.